In this part of Module 3, we're going to take a look at the new media landscape. Two of the major features of this landscape are symbiosis and convergence. Don't let this business jargon confuse you. These are just new ways of looking at concepts we've already introduced. In this presentation, we'll look at symbiosis. Symbiosis, conglomerates, partnerships, synergy. Given the cost of media ownership and audience fragmentation, mass media need each other to survive. This echoes one of the primary motivations behind concentration of ownership, to maximize profit and minimize cost. You can do this by creating a media conglomerate. A conglomerate is simply an organization where one company owns many different media outlets. Conglomerates can take two forms: vertical integration or horizontal integration. Vertical integration is owning the different links in a supply chain. An example would be a business which owns a television production company, which produces television shows, which are then shown on the broadcast network owned by that company, which are then shown on the cable network owned by that company, which is then distributed through online video owned by that company. The content stays within a single company from its birth through its life cycle. In other words, Disney, capital City, ABC. Disney owns television production companies. Then, these programs are aired on the capital city's locally owned television stations, which of course are also broadcast on the ABC network, which are also broadcast on the Disney Channel. In the United States, 6 companies control about 90% of traditional media. In other countries, the percentage is higher. In Italy, for example, one company controls over 45% of all traditional media. Horizontal integration means merging with a similar company to increase sales or expand reach. A local example is the Naples Daily News, which also owns the Marco Island Eagle, the Bonita Banner, the Collier Citizen, and the Vista Semanal. They now own every major newspaper in Collier County and are extending their reach into Lee County. Partnerships are different from conglomerates. A partnership is a temporary agreement between two companies which operate in different areas. NASCAR is the undisputed master of media partnerships. NASCAR and their partnerships are valued at tens of millions of dollars. You'll see these media partnerships at fast food restaurants, grocery stores, everywhere. Here's a recent partnership between Slim Jim and Battlefield 4. Partnerships and conglomerates are trying to achieve the same effect, called symbiosis. Symbiosis is a biological term that refers to a close relationship between organisms that benefit both. As Disney CEO Michael Eisner phrased it when he announced the merger of Disney and ABC, "I'm optimistic that 1 + 1 ends up to 4. Partnerships are much more difficult to manage than when all the companies are in the same family. It's a corporate hookup rather than a marriage. And you tend to make a less profit when you're dealing with partners than when you're keeping all of the business in-house. Synergy is just a business industry buzzword that sounds cooler than symbiosis. So what's the point? What are the benefits of symbiosis? The primary one is cross-promotion. That's an advertising technique where one media is used to promote another media. And cross-promotion can be used both by conglomerates and partners. Battlefield promotes Slim Jim, which promotes Battlefield. McDonald's promotes the Olympics, which promotes McDonald's. Another benefit of symbiosis has to do with holding down cost. In the media, it's called multiple content use. You create a piece of content and you distribute it in several places. The industry acronym is COPE. Create once, play everywhere. I've already used an example of COPE in the discussion on concentration of ownership. At NET, the same producers create content that's used across multiple channels. This is also an example of vertical integration, since the same company creates the content and distributes it. Because of the high cost of creating content, distribution through multiple channels saves money. In the next chapter, we'll look at what I call the Lord of the Rings media model. One device to rule them all, and in the darkness bind them.